we have been hired to go ahead and replace the operator that's on this gate with a new one. Some things are screwed up and things aren't right. Let's kind of look at what we're talking about. What they have chosen to install was a Viking operator. We particularly don't like these, and that's because the board sits at a 45-degree angle. Small rodents like to get on top of that board and make a nest and stuff because it's a warmer area. The varmint awesomeness oozes all over across the board, typically fries it and causes it to short out. What do you know? There's some mouse droppings right on the board there. We like where the board sits vertical and nothing can lay on, make a nest on, or awesome all over on the board. That's just the operator side. I'm assuming that the photo eyes were once a problem, so instead of having the reflector across the opening to detect a vehicle that might have been stuck in there or a kid or something like that, we have found that it is better just to go ahead and tape the reflector to the photo eye. If there's a child in there, we're just gonna go ahead and let the gate continue crushing them. If you're wanting to go with their wireless photo eye, I would go with the US All-O-Matic wireless photo eyes, because that is still a monitored photo eye. And that's actually what we're gonna use on this gate. This needs to be over here, so that way we're protecting the gate as the gate moves. Also, there is one other problem with the photo eye. Look at how tall the photo eye is. We're at an elementary school right now, and you gotta think of little kids. They could walk right underneath that and never break that beam. But cheaper is not always better. Look what you get for what you pay for. I think this operator was installed probably about like 5 years ago, and we're already having to rip it out and replace it with a different one. Could we salvage the pad, and could we just install our new operator on the pad? We would love to do that. Unfortunately, all of our conduits are coming in right almost up against the gate. That's going to be too close for us to be able to use those conduits in the position that they're in. They had us replace 2. This is our second one. We've already done 1, and we have recommended All-O-Matic operators. We've already installed 1 and it works flawlessly, and we're going to go ahead and install this one. Oh, there we go. You always want to go to the strongest point of the machine. So don't go to an attachment. That's why we've chosen to go to the bar, on the bob attach plate. So we want to try to save the wires so that way the electricians don't have to pull new wire or put it in a splice box. What we're going to do is we're going to use a cable cutter, and this will just go around the conduit so that way it cuts it and doesn't hurt the wires. You can do the same thing with a piece of string. Ironic, if you didn't know that, you can cut PVC with a string. We got the pad out. Yay, score for us. We're not gonna pour a concrete pad. What? You're not what? We're gonna do a post-mounted plate. This is what our operator is gonna sit on. So we're gonna dig a hole, we're gonna pour some concrete, we're gonna stab that in the ground, let that sit overnight. The warmth in the ground is gonna keep that concrete from freezing. Hey, it's a new day. This white stuff wasn't here yesterday, and it wasn't even in the forecast. Welcome to Wyoming. We finished digging our hole. We got our gate operator mounting plate set. 9 60-pound bags of concrete, and we dug that thing down to about like 46 inches deep. So one of the reasons that we went so deep with that, one is because we could have a nice solid foundation, and the other thing is that if we keep our concrete down low, we can put our conduit on top of that, still getting 18 inches of coverage on top of our low voltage conduits. We're gonna start cutting all the holes for all the conduits that we're gonna put into this operator. Going off of what they already have that's existing, they have a 3/4 inch conduit for the keypad, so we're gonna have to tap onto that, and then 2 3/4 inch conduits for the loops. Let's just dive right in. And it's not cold, don't worry. There's 4 1-inch holes already for stubbing into the power, but we're gonna go in with some smaller conduits. We are just going to go ahead and drill a 3/4. I've drilled 3 1/2 inch, And I got to drill 2 more 3/4 inch. And for that, I really like this green Lee set. I've had it for quite some time. The nice thing about this is everything's quick change. So you just have to have your main shaft there. And you can change your bit size. I think you can go all the way up to 1.5 inches. Plenty big for us. It's a lot easier when everything's warm and more flexible. If you're gonna use a conduit in the ground and you have to bend it somehow, you're gonna wanna heat it up with like a propane torch, a weed burning torch, or you can bring a generator with you and a heating blanket. We put the blanket on the conduit so that way we can heat it up and bend it. And the nice thing is that you don't have to worry about burning the conduit like you do with the torch. So let this sit here for about 5 minutes. And then we're gonna be able to play with that conduit and bend it to whatever direction we need it to go. Once it starts to cool off and doesn't stay as hot as it was, it'll go back and harden. Just remember, if you're doing an elbow like this, you want to make sure and keep it tubular and not have a flat surface to the point where your wire's not going to be able to make that corner. Info fact, make sure to throw your trash away. See, that's where it goes. Your flux you can get with a metallic core, a metal core, or a non-metal core. And the stuff that I'm using today has a metal core. This thing is gonna thread into the metal core, and it's gonna make it so it has no sharp edges for those wires to get caught or cut on. So on the inside here, it looks like a big spiral, and you have this funky, whatever you want to call this thing. What it's going to do is it's going to feed into that spiral and twist into that conduit, just like so. Trying to get the rest of our conduits plumbed in to the pedestal. This is an obstruction loop right now, and we just have one more loop to run after this. After that, we're gonna put the dirt back. We put all that effort and all that work in here so that way I could have a nice place to sit. We got our pedestal mount set, 4 feet in the ground. We got our conduits terminated up into our pedestal plate. We have the wire for the electricians. The breaker's off and it's locked out. We have a conduit for our keypad, a conduit for outside loop, and a conduit for the inside loop. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and mount the operator. Now we've pre-drilled our holes for where the operator is gonna sit. As you can see back here, there's a wide open area for the conduits to come up in. We are gonna go in with an All-O-Matic operator. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and measure where the chain needs to go for mounting the chain on the gate operator. So we're going to measure from the top to the bottom framework of the gate. So there I have 19 and a half. So what we're going to do is we want that chain at 19 and a half from the top of the bracket here Also, another thing while we're thinking about it is how far off the gate we need to be. So from the framework to the center drive sprocket, we are 3 7/8. And we want to be 19.5 to that center hole, which is where the chain is going to come into. We got plenty of room. And right there. Safety first. All right, so we just took 40 feet of chain. Every 10 feet it had a master link in it. So we joined them all together. A master link is one with a removable snap ring there. And I just took a pair of channel locks and pushed the snap ring off and pushed it back on. The way that I cut my chain to length is with a chain brake. It grabs the chain like so. So as you tighten this down, it's going to drive that pin, pushing that link out. That's how you break the chain and cut it to your certain length. So you want a little bit of a sag in your chain, not a tremendous amount, but if you have that thing zinging tight, what's going to happen is you're going to start putting a bow in that gate because you have it so tight. A little dip like that, it's not bad. Push down on this, it disengages this clutch here, which now causes that gate to be able to free spool. We're going to go ahead and set the open limit switch, which is right here. So we're going to pull this bar, spin this little plastic dial until we hear a small click on this switch, which I just heard it. As he pulls this gate closed, this little dial right here is going to move this direction into that switch. See how they're going down that piece of all thread? So that's the tattletale that tells the gate when to stop traveling in the open or closed direction. How's my hair look? Oh, thank you. So, of course, you have to protect your actual gate opening. That end that travels down the fence line, to make sure that there's nothing there, you need to protect that as far as entrapment means with a photo eye or an edge. We're going to do both. Slides in that groove. Be nice and easy because you don't want to tear that edge on the very top of that track or nothing. And all I'm doing is I'm feeding that through. I'll lift the edge up. The edge ties into this, and every time this is pressed, then this reports to this talks to that big black box. Okay, so the edges, what we just did here, we just paired them together. Our top channel is that edge. Our second channel is that edge. We already tested them too, so we're gonna put everything back up and move on to the next step. So here we are at a different location with the same operator that we just got done installing. In this general area is a loop detector, and one thing to remember about these is that they are good at detecting metal. They're not so good at detecting people. Yeah, not at all. Maybe if you have a lot of metal pins in your body, maybe you might register, but I'm kind of thinking not. The photo eyes, on the other hand, those are going to be the people detector. Is there a certain size of loop that you have to have per certain size of gate opening? No, but the goal there that you're trying to obtain is you're trying to make it so that way when a vehicle goes through the gate opening, it has to be able to cross that loop. And ideally, you want that vehicle to cross at the most sensitive points, which are the edges and the corners. I can barely see a faint trench, which is right here, and this is my corner, and this is my other corner. And this is nothing but a bus garage, so we're good. And there's a loop on this side and a loop on the other side. We saw cut a loop in. The loop fit inlaid right into the asphalt because the width of the blade is designed for the width of the loop. And so they play together Now as far as the loop goop, why do we like the loop goop and not other brands? We like it because those nozzles that you get with the loop goop, it fits right in the crack and you're able actually to inject the loop goop right into that crack and encase the loop. It's a lot faster and it saves time and it's a lot more efficient. Okay, now as far as your loop placement, where does that loop need to go? From the center of the gate opening, you need to come back 6 feet at minimum for the start of that loop to start. From the center of the opening, you're gonna go each direction 6 feet, and then that's gonna be the first outside or inside leg. So this would be the first, this would be the second. So the great news is everything works as planned. Our edges work phenomenal, our loops work great. We're ready just to show everything to you, present you to the final gate operator installation. That last board, it was going at a 45-degree angle. This one, straight up and down, a nice metal cover, nice metal housing. The board is 100% sealed in there. Nothing can get on it, nothing can awesome and ooze all over it. And on the back side, we already showed you those. We have the loop detectors. Try to keep your wires really short when you cut your loops in. And if they're not short, try to keep them, if they don't have a nice sheeting like this, try to make sure and keep them all twisted together so that way you get a good nice reading. For all of this loop goes through here, up and then down and then back into the conduit. There's about 18 inches of loop wire in here from when it comes out of the conduit and lands into its terminals. If you were to strip all the sheeting, protective sheeting off of the loop wire, what could happen, and you don't twist them together like we recommend, when the operator is working and in motion, those wires can pull away from each other and actually lose their frequency and get a bad read, and then your gate could start doing a whole bunch of funky kind of spooky stuff. What's magic? I don't have a lot of tricks, but I got one. Now I kept on talking about these edges and stuff and about how good they were and how we had to have them. That gate barely had to hit me. The edge noticed it hit something and it just sent it back 1.5 feet and then it stopped. As it just barely ran into me again, now it's going the other direction. Very nice, very quiet. Not a lot of noise coming off of it. And as you can see, the gate just glides through the opening. Now the free exit loop, it also serves as an obstruction loop as well. So if the gate's getting ready to close and somebody else tries to come on through, what's going to happen is it's going to tell that gate to open one more time because it senses the vehicle is there. These are not additional extra add-on features. These are nothing but safety features. They're a must. We follow UL 325 guidelines. It's there for a reason, and it's to make sure that gate operators are installed correctly. Unfortunately, there's some people out there that do not follow such said guidelines. But we do, and that's what we do. We come around and we fix mistakes. We're gonna have another means of entrapment protection. They're on their way, they're not here right now. We have our two means, which is our loop and our edge, so we're covered. We can go ahead and put this gate in operation. But we're gonna go ahead and install photo eyes as well. So the one on the operator side is gonna be wired to the operator. The transmitter, which is gonna go about right where I'm standing, it is gonna be battery operated just as this was. You're gonna wanna throw it on a maintenance program, such as come back once a year, replace batteries, and make sure the gate is still functionable, as we will do with this particular gate here. How high are these photo eyes? I'm not talking to the bottom, I'm not talking to the top, but to the actual photo eye. That's what matters, is to the photo cell. The photo cell is 24 inches off the ground, and it does fall within our safety guidelines. It's going to be a monitored through beam photo eye, so it's going to shoot a beam straight across here, and if a kid comes through and trips that beam while that gate's in motion, in the closing motion, it's going to tell that gate to go back the opposite direction, back open, so that way it doesn't risk running into a kid or a vehicle or anything that might be blocking its way. You got to put it on there. You got to let everybody else know that you have an automated gate. At the end of the day, you want your gate to work properly, and you want your gate to work safely. And your customer wants it to work safely as well. And don't forget, we want you to have a good dang day.